Onegaishimasu. Okay, so connect to the ground right away. It's one of the first things on the checklist is hang out or sink into the ground. Give the weight to the lower body, and then ultimately even lower into the feet. Eventually, ultimately, just give everything over to the ground. Our responsibility is the awareness, intention of our alignment. We give responsibility of carrying our weight over to the earth, and then our responsibility is our alignment and our breathing. So let's start just with centered breathing, hanging out, weight through the feet. Each out breath is a releasing breath. Releasing on each out breath. Even here, it's good to start to refine the alignment. For example, the back of the neck. Have that pushed out a little bit, or in other words, straightened, or dropping the chin a little bit, pushing the chin in, lengthening, opening the back. Hang the spine, weight through the feet. As we continue just to let gravity work through our structure, let the weight exit through the legs and feet, go into some movement, some arm swings. Notice the tendency as we go into some movement, the tension creeps in. Notice any pulling in, pulling up, moving away from that relaxed openness that we're working with in that standing posture. Notice how that we might lose any of that. And then go back to the feeling, experience of that, just hanging out, letting the weight enter the ground. And see if we can keep that as we go into movement. Very interesting observation to notice the tendencies of the body, the muscles, the mind. Once we start going into movement, especially very active or dynamic movement. The same thing when we start to interact with someone, noticing all those tendencies and reactions. And see if we can come back to just hanging out, being open and flowing. So each out breath is another opportunity to release some more tension. Each swing is another opportunity to release a little bit more tension and tightness. And if you're getting a little warmed up or if it's feeling okay, you can turn those hips a little more strongly. And again, that's activated by not engaging the muscles more strongly, but using the ground more actively. Sinking down or pressing down into that one leg to turn the hips. Just drop the weight more actively, and you get a more vibrant physical swing. But again, we're not doing that by physically getting contractual or tight. In fact, it's by opening and dropping more. See if you can let those shoulder joints really let go and release. Again, the back of the neck, the lower back to be virtually straight. Press out the lower back just as you press out the back of the neck, or hang the tailbone. Or hang the tailbone and lift the crown, another approach to it. And then you can take a little wider stance and we can have a hip turn and a weight shift. Again, going into bigger movements, so notice what's happened in your body, any tightening, any pulling in. Hang out from the string, let the weight exit through the legs, use the ground, use the legs. Let the body open and release. Yeah, keep going. So Cheryl, that's looking really good. Your arms are very, very relaxed. Your shoulders are very relaxed and open. That's a really good arm swing. It's quite vibrant, yet you're staying open and relaxed. It's very nice. Good. Good. And then another variation of that is we can shift the weight as we turn the hips and draw that foot in. Make sure the leg you're standing on, that knee is nicely bent. Okay, and arm swing. Now you can facilitate that swing by either shifting weight forward and back or turning the hips. Probably easiest to get that timing at first if you do it by turning the hips. So by turning that back hip forward, that's going to initiate the swing forward. So you simply turn the hip forward, 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 and let that arm and shoulder go. Just using the legs and the hips, nothing in the arm. The slightly different approach to it is simply doing it by a weight shift here, shifting my weight forward and back. So that takes the timing. And then choosing to let gravity take it. And staying with that process, letting gravity take that arm. To swing back, if we use the hip version, that's opening the hip back, turning the hip back to initiate that swing. Turning the hip back, back, back. So that arm is passively swung around, passively being swung around. Releasing and opening that shoulder joint. And letting gravity take it, totally naturally. The other side. Turning the hip or shifting the weight forward. And accessing gravity, being with that process, and then turning the hip back or shifting the weight back. Coming from the feet, releasing the abdomen, lengthening the spine. Using the ground. And letting gravity take it. Mindfully with that process. Notice the feelings. And then here in the middle, see if you can use very little arms to get started. And then the other way. Just using the continual dropping, gravity, continual dropping to keep those arms going. Nothing in the shoulders. And letting gravity take the arms. Breathing in. Breathing out 3 times. Breathing in through the nose. Out through the nose or the mouth. Let gravity take those arms and fingers completely. Giving yourself over to gravity completely. So letting your entire body rock with this motion right down to the heels. Try not to throw your arms down. So again, that would be active doing, throwing the arms down. It's like the strings just being cut. The arms being held up by strings, and the strings are just very quickly cut. So just try to notice if you're doing any throwing the arms down, maybe at the very beginning or at the very top, throwing them down. And you want to have just gravity working through those arms and hands. And even coming up with those arms, try to have a feeling of momentum bringing the arms up, not so much your arm muscles. Okay, vibrating here in front of the hara. Again, loosening and opening up the body, whole body vibration. Releasing the abdomen. Chin in, tailbone down, shoulders down, belly released. Rocking all the way down to the heels. Imagine you're shaking all the sediments and debris inside of a container. You're kind of shaking it down, shaking everything down and out of the body. But the container stays open and light. So in other words, as you drop the sediment, drop the tensions, you don't want everything to be dropping and collapsing. So as you shake the sediments, tensions out of the body and down, this stays open and bright, becomes emptier and emptier. So you don't want to have a settling such that there's a collapsing, condensing. The settling and corresponding opening, empty. As you settle tensions, tightness, body remains bright and open. And letting the arm swing in front. Letting gravity work through the fingertips. Arms flow out to the sides. Knees are bent a bit. Alternating rotations. So one arm and hand rotates up while the other arm and hand rotates down. Breathe. And again, rather than feeling as if you're doing this with your arm muscles, have a sense that you're spiraling out equally through both arms and hands. So these outward spirals are rotating the arms. Letting the shoulder joints relax and open. So the arms become a little bit longer and longer. The arm muscles become soft. The joints and the shoulders, elbows, wrists, and fingers open. Breathe. Longer and longer, laterally, with your intention. Okay, now letting the arms swing. Release those arms a little bit. A little wider with the stance. Toes out, knees out, little bend. So same action, but now more directly activate it from the lower body, the ground, through the legs, through the torso. So if I press down my right leg, that rotates through my leg, through my torso, rotating my left arm up and around, my right arm down and around. Pressing the left leg down, that spirals through my body. We'll have a sense that pressing to the ground initiates a spiral through the leg, through the torso, then through the arms. Releasing the abdomen, releasing and opening the shoulder joints. Watch if there is a rising of the shoulder. You don't want much of a rising of a shoulder. So maybe I can illustrate that. Hopefully you can see that. So this will be a little bit too much action in the shoulder coming up. So you want to have a sense the shoulders stay down and you're opening and lengthening laterally and nothing vertical. So even if there's less physical movement, but keeping the shoulders down. Shoulders open laterally and not vertically moving. And that will create more opening through the entire torso and out through shoulder joints. So to kind of counter that, even a physical pressing down, have a pressing down, sitting the shoulders down, pressing the shoulders down on top of the rib cage. Down and then out, pressing down and outward. Okay, and then let the arms swing in front, completely releasing any residue tension in those shoulders. Okay, so one foot in front of the other, we'll do some Manucci. Very relaxed, but very expansive. So not so much coming up, way, 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 way out, but again, keeping the shoulders down. Coming from the feet. Let those arms grow long. Shoulder joints open, elbow joints open, wrists, even the finger joints open. And then with the Tenkai, with the turn. And back of the neck is open and long. And the lower back. Release the abdomen. Okay. Tenkan Undo 90 degrees. We'll just stay with this really basic Minuchi movement, up and down. So here. Again, the advancing step is raising Minuchi. The foot sliding back is the coming down. Coming from your legs, expanding from your hara, expanding up from your hara. Okay, and then 180 degrees. Hanging from the string, straight down. Coming from the legs, coming from the feet, coming from the floor. Okay. So we can do some bokken work without a physical bokken. So a very helpful way to do it, empty hand. As you know, of course, the left hand is the bottom hand and the right hand's on top. So you close the little finger of the left hand, gripping the handle, the bokken. Little finger is closed, and the right hand rests on top. And then you can have a sense that, as is the case with bokken and jo, it's the left hand or the bottom hand, whichever is the bottom hand, that does the driving. And the top hand resting on top, right hand resting on top, gives you a sense that it's the bottom hand, that's the active hand in lifting. Now, to keep the top hand from being dead, or the right hand from being just neutral and dead, is extend the index finger of the right hand. So you're sending your mind, sending the ki out through the index finger of the right hand. And you're energizing the little finger of the left hand. So the little finger of the left hand is actively closed, and you're energizing the little finger of the left hand and energizing the first finger of the right hand. Now, if we just work this action a little bit before we go into footwork, as you know, you don't want to lift up, and certainly not up and in. So you roll the elbows, in particular the left elbow, you roll it forward and energize the tegatana of the left hand, energize the hand blade left hand and the little finger of the left hand. So rolling forward, energizing the blade of the left hand right through the little finger. So that should have a sense of rolling the elbows forward, and it's really out in front of you. And then you energize little finger, closing, squeeze little finger to initiate the cut. And at the same time, you extend out through the right forefinger. So you're rolling it forward, energizing the blade and little finger of the left hand. Squeeze the little finger of the left hand and energize and extend out through the forefinger of the right hand. So that should give you a nice long open cut as you cut down rather than foreshortening it and being in. And again, extending through the blade and the little finger, energizing the little finger should have a nice big rolling forward opening and raising rather than coming up and in. Rolling forward, come up. Squeeze the little finger, extending out the right forefinger, coming down. Okay. Now we'll just do basic footwork, just as if we're doing Boken. So it'll be right on me. And we're just going to slide the forward foot, right foot, forward and back. So we slide back, it comes towards the back foot, but not touching. And again, we want to make sure we're not leaning as we do our cut. And of course, we're not leaning back as we come back. So keep the weight falling through, directly through our vertical axis. Okay, so coming here, here. And right now we'll finish gate on. So pointing the index finger down to the ground, not too much. It's extended out. So it's down, but not collapsed. It's still extended out. So if we finish here, gate on to start with, timing that with our front foot sliding, watching out for any leaning forward or leaning back. Shoulders stay seated. Again, it's the energizing through the left hand blade coming up. Energizing through the right forefinger cutting down. Big arcs. Okay. And then the next step for Shomunuchi is a full slide step. And perhaps there's even more of a tendency to become upper body oriented and to lean. So keeping the hips under the head, have a sense of pushing the hips forward rather than lurching forward the upper body. So whenever you're ready, getting that timing, so larger movement. You might reference the arm swings again. Try to regain that open, soft, natural feeling of the arm swings and bring that into this nice clear structure of the Shomunuchi strikes. So we don't want to be tight and mechanical about it. Same quality as the arm swings. We just have very, very clear structure because we have very clear intent. It should be as soft, open, and free as those arm swings. Okay. Any questions thus far with this action? So let's continue with some Boken work. So we'll slide step forward, keeping the right leg forward for now. So hopefully you have a little bit, even if you have a few steps, you just turn around, go back the other way. So energizing from the back leg to push through the elbows forward and up. Cut and slide step. So slide step, posture. Cutting down to gate on. Okay, just a detail that we typically talk about in sword class. I want to make sure that I'm cutting, entering in behind the cut. So I don't want to enter in and then cut because I'm open, exposed. I'm running into their defenses or their structure or their sword tip. So I don't want to come in and then cut. Just like an empty hand shoman, I don't want to come in, I'm open. Empty hand shoman, I'm coming in behind. So let's just take a moment to be mindful of that. So when I advance, I want to be cutting and entering in behind it so that I'm not open. So I advance, I cut and enter. If you have any questions about that, let me know, but let's try that a few times. Cut and enter. Developing an awareness of your openings and filling those holes, covering those openings with your intention, your timing of your body movement, your body structure. Sensing any potential openings and managing those openings. Okay, now we'll have full steps. Same Shomen cut, full steps. Now, rather than stepping with the heel, that creates a clomping kind of step. And it's overcommitted, and it tends to be throwing the weight of the upper body. So I'm stepping with the ball of the foot. Okay, so full steps with the Shomen cut. Again, be mindful of the timing. I enter in behind my cut. Relax the shoulders, largest possible arc, cutting arc as possible. Energize the little finger, raising. Energize the right forefinger, cutting. Okay. And in between these movements, be very conscious of the feeling of your arms, the weight of your arms, gravity working through your arms. Exactly the same process as when we stop our arm swings. We stop our arm swings and we stay with that process. As we stand here, activate that same feeling. Let gravity work through your entire structure, but in particular, pay attention through your arms. Letting gravity work through your arms, letting them settle, weight settling underside, energy flowing. Okay. We can do Yokomen as well. So we'll be starting by switching feet. So left foot comes up, right foot comes back. Right foot comes up, protecting the left side, left foot comes back. Left foot comes up, protecting the right side, right foot comes back. So switching the feet, which slightly turns the center line, keeping the shoulders down the whole time, shoulders down. This is coming from the movement of the legs or the movement of the turning center line. Extending out the right forefinger. Have a sense of not coming from your shoulders, coming from your entire body or your legs. Not a separate arm movement. Okay. Then you can relax your arms down, and as you drop your arms, that's just a mini arm swing. Just a mini arm swing right there. Every time you drop your arms, you can captivate the whole experience of the arm swing just by dropping your hands. And that little bit of a swing there, you can captivate and energize the entire experience of a 3-minute arm swing exercise just from this motion here. Okay. Have you met Babu? She's going to be my target. No. Only for air sword, not for real sword. Okay. So we'll walk that same step with Yokomen. Now, there's a couple different approaches as far as what side we're covering. So we'll start with, here we are, of course, in Seigon. And we will cover the advancing side. The leg that steps forward, that's the side the sword goes to. The rationale being, we protect the advancing side. Whatever side is advancing or stepping, we're protecting that side because that's getting closer to the opponent, or it's actively entering towards the opponent. So we're covering that closer side. So that's the rationale with this timing, this placement of the protection. So if we have a migi hanmi, a right hanmi, and we're not doing a slide step now, we're doing a full step. So the back foot, left foot, as that advances, I'm protecting the left side. And then cut, Yokomen cut. Stepping with the right foot, back foot, right foot, covering that advancing side, that right side, and diagonally cutting Yokomen. Covering the advancing left side, cut Yokomen. Covering the advancing right side, cut Yokomen. Let me know if you have any questions. So you're covering the side of stepping or advancing, and then a slight angle of a cut. Keep your extension. Extend out the right forefinger. And every time you drop your arms, that's a full arm swing right there.
Can I ask a question about your timing of, when you step out and you're stepping front of the foot first, when do you fully weight that foot? Like, is that as a result of the swing, like by the end of the swing, or does it matter?
That's an interesting question. I would not say, to use the way you're phrasing it, I would not say it's the result of the swing, because I don't want my swing to be predominant or primary. I want my footwork to be primary. So let's see, if I do some here, what would I say? Okay, so I think what will feel really good and integrated is, just as we've heard from Jim Sensei, when that back foot slides into position, that's a powerful cut. But now it's the front foot sliding into position. So that's quite a revealing question. So actually, thank you for asking that question, because that's a very, very detailed question and observation. So just as we've all have experienced and worked with, as that back foot, or what becomes the back foot, slides into position, that's the dynamism for the cut. So once you asked that question and I went through it and analyzed it and felt it, I have that same feeling, as my right foot slides and anchors. So let's try that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think because we were all of us were at the last Josh Sensei sort of retreat, and he was very much drilling at that time, like, you don't have power for swing if your foot's in the air, or it's not, like, you need that ground contact for the swing. But it's I guess I fidget on this, because if you want your swing, if you want to fill behind it, then the timing gets a little tricky on that.
Yeah, that timing still applies. So
Okay.
it might take a little while to get that timing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a really good observation and a good refinement to work on. So let's do another 1 or 2 room lengths of that. So what will happen, like back to this point about the timing of the cut and cutting so you're not open and not just advancing and you still have the sword up. So what answers this for me? We're back to feeling. What answers that timing, if I try to work that timing out intellectually, I get very robotic and I find it frustrating, or I'm struggling to get the timing if I think of it, if I try to think of it. If I think and feel that, well, I have to cut them before they cut me, or simply, I don't want to be cut or skewered. I don't want to have that opening. And you don't have to put it in, if that sounds gory or violent. I don't think of it in terms of goriness. I think of it in terms of, am I open or not? Can I be touched or not? Am I vacuous? Is there a hole there? Or is it filled? So when I think of, and it can be helpful to put it in sometimes in a very a realistic martial setting at first to get that timing. I don't want to receive their sword. So if I have that reality in my feeling, I don't want to receive their sword. That answers the timing for me. So let's work with that for a minute. So make it a realistic interaction in your mind. Okay, so as I mentioned, this approach, it's the advancing side that you're covering. This side's advancing, or theoretically getting closer to the other person. You're covering that side to enter in the cut. But it doesn't have to always be that side, because obviously you want to be flexible and to deal with any possible situation. So you can also cover the side that's already forward. The rationale behind that is that they are going towards your forward side that's already closest to them. So it's a little bit more of a defensive approach, where it's already coming in. This side's closer, so you have to protect that side because they're coming in. Then you enter inside their attack. So what we just did was a little more offensive-minded, perhaps, where I'm entering in, so I cover that side, so I can come in. Now they're coming to the closer side, the forward side, so I have to cover that forward side. So let's try a few of that approach. So if you're starting with Migi-Hami, which probably you are, you cover that side, step and cut. Then you cover the left side, whatever side's forward, step and cut. So it's the other configuration. So I have a question for you guys. In the previous one, where we're going to protect the advancing side, there's a footwork involved with this initial movement. I'm stepping and covering. So there's footwork or body movement initiating that sword movement, initiating that initial covering. Now we're going to the other side. There isn't a step. Again, before there was a step, the physical dynamic movement of the step, moving the arms and the sword. Now, there isn't necessarily a step unless I slide step, but let's say we're not going to slide step. It's right here, right now, so I've got to cover it without any step. Then I step for the cut, of course. So my question is, with the one that we did previously, there's a step that you can use to generate the movement. What generates the movement of the arms and the sword to cover here? Because we cover first and then step. We cover and then step. We cover first and then step. So we don't want to be using the arms to do that. So where are we getting that movement from? Where are we generating the movement from to get the sword there? Open question.
Well, I would say, Sensei, the first way we did it definitely, to me, felt more yang.
And the second one felt more yin, so it felt like it was a drop that was kind of instigating that covering.
Okay.
On the
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I could see that. I can appreciate that. It's a draw. Okay. So physically, where are we getting the mechanism to get the arms and therefore the sword to move? Physically, where is it coming from?
I almost kind of felt, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but a transfer of weight almost from the back to the front.
Okay. Okay. I got you. Okay. So a little bit, so different than what Ali said, and they're both valid. So Ali's talking about a bit of a draw. Danielle's talking about shifting the weight forward. They're both totally valid. So my general answer was going to be anywhere except the arms. And so both of you answered it.
So I've got one more variation, is the sense of like, if my foot's out and my arms come out, that there's a little bit of a drop and a turn. So the sense of like the pubic bone, tailbone kind of rotates down like half a
Right.
a quarter of a spiral.
Right.
So that then
Right. So those are all really, really good approaches, because you're generating it from somewhere other than the arms. You're generating it from your body or your body movement. So that's really, really good. Excellent. Okay, so we can make this a little bit more kata and a little bit more sophisticated. So what we'll do is, and you can do now either Yokomen, that you can do either one, and you can mix them as well. You can either cover the side that's already forward and then step, or you cover the stepping side, advancing side. It doesn't matter which one you do, and you can vary them up. But what we'll do is you'll do Yokomen until you get to the end of your space, and then you do a Tenkai Shomen. Yokomen, again, it doesn't matter which side you're doing Yokomen on. When you get to the end of your space, you do a Tenkai Shomen. The Shomen cut we'll do to Geidon. Yokomen cuts we'll do to Seigon. So you Yokomen until you reach the end of your space. You do a turn, Shomen cut, right down to Geidon. As big, as long a cut as you can. Yokomen cuts will finish at Seigon. You get to the end of your room, Tenkai Shomen. Keeping your arms open and long, coming for, like you guys said, whatever you guys can access, that's other than your arms. Remember, you're energizing the little finger of the left hand. Little finger of the left hand is curled, but you're energizing that. You're running a circle of energy, spiral of energy through your little finger to make that curl, and energizing straight out through your right forefinger. Okay, good. Now, whenever you drop your arms, approach that as an arm swing. Okay. Another kata. Before we do this other kata, we should isolate ski. Ski. So again, energizing little finger of the left hand, forefinger of the right hand. So we'll start with, again, we'll just work with ski a little bit here. Just like we started with Shomen, it's just a sliding front foot. As we know, we're going to watch out for leaning. Keep the hips under the head. So we start in Seigon, the fingertip pointing up, and finish at Chudon. Seigon, ski is Chudon, back to Seigon. Okay, let's try some room lengths where we do that Slide step with the right side staying forward, right leg staying forward. And see if you can cover a good amount of space. Cover a lot of space forward without leaning over or over committing with your body posture. Staying nice and vertical, allowing gravity to work straight down through your verticality, but covering a lot of space with your ski. Okay, now we'll do advancing steps with both feet. We're back to sliding forward, touching down lightly on the ball of the advancing foot. So a ski on each step. Accessing the verticality the whole time. Allowing gravity to work through your verticality the whole time. Okay. So we'll string these strikes we've done so far together. We'll do a ski, Yokomen, Yokomen, ski, Tenkai Shomen. Ski, Yokomen, Yokomen, ski, Tenkai Shomen. So your footwork can vary. You can have slide step ski, full step ski, doesn't matter. Your Yokomens, you can vary which side you're covering. So you can mix and match. Are you doing a slide step or a full step? And which side you're doing Yokomen. But the basic format is ski, 2 Yokomens, a turning Shomen. Oops. So 2 Yokomens, another ski, turning Shomen. So ski, 2 Yokomens, ski, turning Shomen. So we have 2 ski and 2 Shomen going in one direction. We have a ski, 2 ski and 2 Yokomen, pardon me, 2 ski and 2 Yokomen. You have a ski, a Yokomen, Yokomen, ski. And then when you have to turn, that's always a Shomen. Everything starts with a ski, 2 Yokomens in the middle, finishing with a ski. The transition is a Shomen. So you're starting with a ski, finishing with a ski, transition is a Shomen. Okay. Horse stance. Holding the bokin and seigan. As you drop, that's your ski. One thing to watch out for is, do your arms become kind of light or weight upper side? I try to illustrate that, where my arms become kind of vacuous, like to really exaggerate it. But even if your shoulders don't come up, you still might have an empty lightness of your arms. You still want your arms to be full, extending out through the hand blades of both arms. The dropping facilitates the ski, but you don't want to leave your arms behind. In other words, you don't want to drop your body and leave your arms behind. Arms are propelled forward. That keeps them full and energized. Or if you energize your hand blades in both arms, that will help. Okay, so that's the ski. And then we have Yoko. Turning the hips, shifting the weight. Energizing the curl of the little finger of the left hand. Energizing the extension of the right forefinger. Coming from your legs and hips or the ground. Okay, now, Kiriage, upward angle. Still coming from weight shift and hip turn. Try to be clear about that angle being nice and straight. Imagine a blade extending out from your hands, being nice and accurate and pristine with that angle, not wobbling, a nice clear cut. So you could cut through a watermelon or actually just move through water very cleanly without any drag. Then we have Kesa cut from the shoulder, downward angle. Okay, good. So now we can do the kata. Okay, so we do sink down and ski, Yoko cut, upward angle, downward angles, all legs and hips, around the back, equalize your weight down the middle, full body cut. Back to Seigan. From Seigan to ski, Yokomen, Yoko, Kiriage, Kesa, around the back, equalize the weight, sink. Really, really, really big cut, big arc. Ski, Yoko, Kiriage, upward angle, Kesa, downward angle, around the back, straight down the middle. Nice flowing extension the whole time. So each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. Each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. Each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. Okay, forward stance. The ski will be a slide step forward, ski. From Seigan to ski. Bring the right foot in and out to the side, Yoko cut. Left foot in and now to the front corner, Kiriage cut. Kesa cut, shifting the weight back. Left foot in, out to the side, Yoko cut the other way. Right foot in, to the right front corner, upward angle, downward angle. Bring the foot in and out to the side for the full body cut. Step forward again with the right foot into a right hanmi, ski. In, out to the side, Yoko. In to the left corner, up cut, down cut. In with the left foot, out, Yoko. In with the right foot, out to the right corner, upward angle, downward angle, using the weight shift on the hip. Right foot in, right foot out to the side, around the back, down. Okay, two more. So each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. Each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. One more. Each, ni, san, shi, go, roke, sich, hach. Hanging out, weight through the legs. Press the foot down to initiate the weight shift hip turn. Release the abdomen. Back of the neck. Lower back is filled. Again, release the abdomen. Breathing in, breathing out. Just let your fingertips drop with gravity. Vibrate the whole body. Weight through the fingertips. Let that vibration through the whole body have a settling effect for the weights and tension, settling everything down, sifting everything down through your open, empty body, leaving behind only emptiness and clarity. You can't unify the body if the lower back is curved and therefore tight. So dropping the tailbone, lengthening the lower back, filling that space, same with the neck. That unifies your upper and lower body. So you get everything vibrating and moving in unison. And let gravity work through that vibration. Again, our responsibility is to keep the alignment open and clear. And then when we release the hands, it'll be a little arm swing, a little mini arm swing. Feeling gravity work through the arms and fingers. Coming to the hara. See how clear of a vessel you can be for gravity to work freely and cleanly. If we slump it all, it's not so clean. Gravity gets stuck. How open and empty and clear can we be for gravity to work cleanly vertically? So that'll intuitively help you adjust your spine. We'll tend to do what we mechanically say to do with the neck and other parts of the body to get that clean action of gravity, not getting in the way of gravity working, that clean free fall. And also the belly, the waist gets out of the way by opening and releasing, letting that clean free fall happen. Opening, emptying the body. Okay. Let's do a bow out. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much.